you live. Man, it's always my wife, my poor wife, she like a week like this, I think I cranked out like 75 graphics, 80 graphics, something like that. You know what it's like when you're covering the sport, it's all day long, and even when you're not watching it, you're looking up stats, you're looking in between stuff, and you're thinking of things. And so she's a little relieved, that the week is over. And and she really loves it. Like, especially the women, she loves watching Hildebrandt win gold and Laura win gold and all these things. But she's happy it's older. And I said, just so you know, cadets start next Monday, and 4 weeks from Monday is juniors. I'm like, that you don't get a long break in the sport.
Well, especially, our sports, like, on the world level is very Eurocentric. So
yeah,
90% of the time when we're watching a Worlds, be it cadets or juniors, whatever, U23s, hell, especially now that I'm in Pacific time, it is a chore because you have to adjust your whole lifestyle. Yeah. You have to adjust your whole day. But, I'm sure most people are. All right,
go tweet out.
I can do it. I can do it all the time. I love it. But.
Well, it's your normal. First of all, go retweet the stream. I just sent the link out for the stream. You also, though, this fits in, I feel like, to your schedule perfectly because you're a maniac. You stay up all night and you go to bed at like 9, 10 in the morning. Yeah. So it's perfect for you. Like it's 6 a.m. right now. You're normally just finishing up a ranking and you're about to go take a nap. A little nappy poo.
Oh, yeah. Like, I swear like an hour ago, I had a big bowl of pasta.
Well, Joe Kenya always tweets, too, like, I don't know how you're making pasta at 6 a.m., Willie. I don't know how you're making ribs at 7 a.m., Willie. Because he's still up. This is like his midnight snack.
6 p.m. for me, yeah.
Right. So, all right. So, where do you want to pick off from?
Kind of, when you're saying your wife enjoyed watching women's freestyle, man, I really enjoyed. I don't think they're going to go to this for Worlds. From a fan perspective, I loved having one girl's weight per day. Watch a couple Greco, watch a female. Watch Greco, watch a female. Watch freestylers. Man, I don't know. To me, I loved it.
It's interesting because normally I feel like the reason they put freestyle last, whether it's foreign or domestically, is because it's the biggest draw. So they're going to make you wait till the end to keep the viewership up the whole time. If you put women's or Greco traditionally last, people tune out. But I think women's wrestling has gotten so big that nobody really tuned out this week for the final match. I don't think there was a single weight that wasn't exciting where people are like, okay, I saw men's freestyle, I'm done. Every day this week was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And the women's wrestling, people will watch who they know and people will watch who they love. Like if your nephew Timmy is wrestling, you're gonna go watch Timmy, right? You're gonna tune in to watch Timmy because you know him and you love him. And sometimes we get like that with our athletes, right? We'll watch this person because she's on the team. I feel like we've surpassed that now. I feel like women's wrestling is so good and entertaining that we don't watch them because we're watching Americans. We watch because, like, I'll watch Kyrgyzstan versus Bulgaria women's wrestling because it's a good product now.
And I've been saying over the last quad a lot that what builds viewership is storylines and success. And there are so many great storylines every day this week. Obviously, Japan was one of the biggest storylines coming out of the Olympics. But you saw all these great storylines. You had two 20-year-olds from America in the finals. You had, some young Japanese women in the finals. Like, there's so many great storylines. I think Ecuador got their first medal. Like, there's so many great storylines that people are tuning in for that now. And you're seeing the great wrestling.
Adeline tweeted a few hours ago. She's like, "What is this, Pan Am's?" And she was obviously kidding, but she's like, "I saw this coming a few years ago, and it's so great." And yeah, man. I mean, we we Pan Am countries in women's had a finalist, Guzman at 53. She lost to Fujinami. And we had a couple medalists. I mean, it's good when you see.
No, isn't Guzman the one who Hildebrandt ended up wrestling because
50.
Vinesh teched her, and then Guzman was in the finals against Sarah.
Yes. But yeah, you're seeing Pan Am women medal on the biggest stage, and that's great. That's great for us. I wish there was a little bit more depth in the men's side, frankly. Outside of Cuba, the other Pan Am countries haven't been great. Canada's not great. Latin America isn't great. Now we do have some expatriates.
Hey,
like
you know what? You know what's funny? I feel like this show is going to be all over the place because Olympics just wrapped up, and as thoughts come, what the blessing and the curse behind the success of women's freestyle and how the men's freestyle team performed is that with more medalists sitting out for the women, it might be bad that we now aren't going to see some of our stars compete as much because they're going to be sitting out in Final X. Whereas on the men's side, it's going to be a free-for-all next year because in the Olympic weights, if Brooks goes up to 92, you're going to have only 2 of the 6 Olympic weights with guys sitting out at Final X heading into the U.S. Open.
Well, I hope. Yeah, that's a good point. We should see more action. It's been sort of lame. I'm not blaming any of them. They choose the path that they think is best for them based on their body and their age and all factors considered. But America's freestyle team men's freestyle team has been they're long in the tooth, right? So they're not only older, but they're also established and returning and sitting in Final X, so they competed less.
Hey, real quick,
now there's probably going to be a lot of turnover.
One quick tidbit. I had just texted Burroughs this because I was trying to rally him to get him motivated. 2016, the average age of the men's freestyle champ was 22.6. Wow. In 2020, it was 24.8. In 2024, it was 26 and a half.
What was 2016?
2016 was 22.6.
Wow.
Because you had a 21, 20-year-old win it at 74, 86, 97.
Oh, yeah. So that was Donnie Sedgalive and Snyder?
Yes. And they were all young.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? So we've gotten 2 years older. So when everybody's saying, like, hey, our team's a little older, the whole world's a little older, apparently.
The whole world's older, huh? Yeah.
If you look at this year, 57 was 28 years old, 86 was 31, and 125 was 30. Half the champs in men's freestyle were over 28.
That's
or
insane.
28 or older.
That's insane. That's a very, very good point. We're going to see a lot of turnover, not only domestically, but and we'll get to that at some point. But there's questions. Zane's probably done. Who comes back? Who doesn't? But there's not just domestically, globally. Like, is Gino done? Right? Taha took his shoes off.
Double retirement. I can't believe you missed that. Maybe
what? Double retirement? Yeah.
Yeah. Willie's like, what? Who retired? I go, wait a minute. Whose? It was a double. So, all right, do you want to start with Spencer, since that's where we finished off our show the other day?
Well, I want to start with the overall. I think we should start with the overall Team USA performance and the chatter that's going on.
This one's building in Willie's brain.
The chatter that's going on social media from these people that are just. You cannot start a thesis from faulty logic, because your response is going to be based on faulty foundation. And you can't say that there's something wrong with American wrestling. You can't say that there's systematic problems. You can't say that this has been a drastic underperformance. Oh my God, this is a disaster. Based upon what? It can only be disappointing It can only be an underperformance based upon expectations.
Right.
Okay? So what were your expectations? Let's start with your for you to say it's underperformance, not an underperformance, for you to say it's a drastic underperformance and a terrible result, you have got to say what your expectations were. Spencer took silver. What was your expectation for him? Was his performance terrible? Obviously not. He made the finals. Zayn drew a first round, drew a world champ, and has been dealing with concussions.
By the way, real quick,
I didn't have Zayn on the podium. So did you? What were your expectations? Were your expectations Zayn as world champ? Go through the lineup and say to yourself, what was my expectations for this person? And then what did they place? And then you get back to me and say, was this a massive underperformance? Because if you say it's a massive underperformance, then your expectations were not reasonable.
Yeah, and I will say, too, that I cannot believe people are hating on Zayn, that he got a concussion, he battled through it, and then symptoms started returning, and they're like, we're done. And people are like, oh, this is like Spencer not wrestling back in NCAAs. I'm like, what? Is this really a thing? You guys are comparing a concussion keeping him out of Olympic repechage and a domestic wrestleback? Out of pure I did not think I was not going to win my fourth title. I don't want to compete. And I'm not saying anything about the decision for Spencer not to compete. I'm just saying the fact that people are crapping on Zayn and saying this is just Zayn not wanting to wrestle back is crazy.
Yeah, that's stupid. I mean, Zayn has always been a warrior. He never missed any time in college. And for him, for his last tournament ever, you think he's not going to wrestle back if he can't? I mean, stop it. It's just, right. I don't even like to freaking acknowledge it. It's dumb.
Well, as soon as any of our guys lose, when you talk expectations going in, as soon as Brooks loses in the semis, Taylor would have won. As soon as Zayn loses, Yanni would have won. We saw it the whole tournament. As soon as anybody lost, it's like, guys, what are we doing? And I think that plays into your expectations. I think the bar is high for what our guys can do and are capable of. But I
mean, if you talk about can and should, if you talk about can and will, is Zayn Rethford capable of knocking a few guys off and wrestling for a medal? Sure. Is Aaron Brooks capable of winning the whole tournament? Sure. Is Kyle Dake? Sure. Is Kyle Snyder capable of winning a medal? Yes, he does it every time, except for this year, right? So, can is way different than should.
And I also
is it a massive? Should we start reevaluating? Japan's women's program because Susaki lost first round?
Well, I also think too. You bring up Japan. Part of our expectations are off because of our knowledge on international competition. And if you're not watching and seeing what the world's doing, we watch so much college wrestling and domestic wrestling that, I mean, Japan put on the performance of a lifetime or whatever this week. What they end up with 8 golds. They end up with half of all golds in Olympic wrestling. It's crazy. So
I know, but that's sort of my point. Is these people saying it's a drastic underperformance by American freestylers, but also at the same time, high praise to Japan. Japan had 3 medals and a 7th. United States had 3 medals and a 5th. Japan didn't even qualify 2 weights. All right? So Japan's all-time greatest men's freestyle performance ever, combined with a touch of an off year. Things didn't go 100% for United States, and these are the 2 polar extremes that you're saying?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I also think too. I forgot what I was just going to say.
I don't know. Listen, I can't wait to go through the numbers because I'm going to pull them, and it's going to say, America.
Oh, now I remember. Though leading up to the Olympics, we heard so much. There's going to be an asterisk. There's going to be an asterisk. There's no Russia. And now all of a sudden, oh, this was supposed to be easy? Like, this is, that again, expectations. We're used to Russia being good, and all of a sudden everybody, that's kind of why the expectations were so high in people's heads, is that, oh, this is going to be an easy Olympics.
Yeah.
Olympics are not easy to win.
Like, yeah. Dake lost a match to a guy he narrowly beat last year. Mason Paris lost in the first round, and if you're gonna podium, you have to beat those kind of guys. But also remember, that guy has been world silver and world bronze. I mean, he's not a bum.
Yeah, and if you look at, like, even Snyder lost the two guys he lost to in the past. That was my worry, is that, in our group chat I had said, Snyder avenging losses is not always his strong suit. And I'm like, these are two guys already lost to. Dake was losing last year to Takatani with like 30 seconds to go. Zayn lost to last year's world champ and this year's runner-up.
Exactly.
Like, we're not losing to bums.
We're not losing to bums. I mean, you can like cry all you want about Kyle. Kyle didn't even medal. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. You realize that as Apira, basically, I mean, he had Tazudinov beat. Yeah. He had Tazudinov beat round one, guys. The champ.
Call him Taz. He goes by Taz now.
he had a lead with 40 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And so, like, we didn't lose to bad people. We lost to Higuchi. So we lost to gold. We lost to silver. We lost to silver. We lost to gold. We lost to gold and bronze. And then heavyweight, we didn't lose to a medalist. All right. So we lost to good dudes.
Yeah. And so, and same thing with Brooks. Like, I think Brooks is still stock up to me with that performance and how he wrestled. I think he lost
bronze and he had a lead with 5 seconds to go.
Right.
The only match he lost. Now, I will say what we're talking about right now is like, and also this, when you get criticism, people say stupid things. People say things that are false. Okay. People say things that are false. This is a massive underperformance by Team USA. Not true. And then I say it's not true, and that's a bad take. And then people call me gatekeepers, and you're making fun of casual fans. Gatekeeping is not calling out something that's not accurate. I'm not gatekeeping. I hope those fans go on and continue. You can't watch wrestling. Yeah, I'm a casual fan. You can't watch wrestling. Call yourself, acknowledge that you're a casual fan, and then put out something that's false and not expect it to be checked. Why don't you just sit back and absorb the sport a little longer and gain some perspective before you're putting out these stupid comments? But I don't know. That's another thing that drives me nuts.
I also think too, there's a lot of preset narratives before, like, these people saying, I was of course defending Penn State and NLWC yesterday when people are like, oh, Penn State crapped the bed and this, based on what? Based on your, and if you go through, you can tell they hate Penn State or they hate Iowa, whatever. It's a preset narrative that they're then waiting for something to validate that they can scream about.
Now, I will say, in what got me off, what got me shot up today and fired up are people saying that we like massively underperformed and we need to reevaluate some things. To which I say, absolutely not. You guys are crazy. We're, every year we're top 5, including this year when we're 3rd. Okay. But, and like Snyder had reasonable losses. Zayn had a reasonable loss, yada, yada, yada. Now, that's all surface level stuff, and I stand by that. But it is surface level blanket statement stuff. If you really want to get down to like the brass tacks of tactics and match strategy and approach and ability, your ability to do this, your ability to avoid that, there's certainly things to be disappointed about. And, I'm just not to rub salt in anybody's wounds or kick them when they're down or any other cliche, but it is really weird to see Kyle Dake just giving up the same shot on the same attack 15 times. Like, we can talk about that, right? We can talk about, man, the score's 3-1 with 2 minutes to go, and Snyder can't get to a leg, right? We can talk about those things, but to say that we drastically underperform is just not right.
Yeah, I also wonder how 4 out of 6 in the team was the NLWC. And I feel like at large, people kind of just looked at NLWC as pointing the finger. And, Felters in our group chat yesterday, I thought brought up a great point about, one thing that could be lacking in this country is what is Team USA's style? What is USA doing? And, it's easy to talk about Hawkeye Wrestling Club or NLWC. It's another to actually look at USA as a whole. I don't know. I understand why people are looking, just pointing right to the club, but I haven't seen much about USA Wrestling, and I'm curious at what that conversation is.
USA Wrestling's pretty much absolved, and it's a catch-22 thing, because I don't think you can really give USA Wrestling much credit when we do great, and I don't know that you can point the finger too much when we don't do well. Like, if you identify some problems, right? USA Wrestling, Team USA does not have a style because they don't train in the same camp. It's not even like.
Do you think we should? Or do you think it should be more of our team is a collective of RTCs? I don't have an answer. I'm just curious on your opinion.
It will never happen. It won't happen ever again, because, and here's why. They don't offer any funding. USA Wrestling offers no funding. I mean, Nittany Lion Wrestling Club foots the bill for their athletes. Hawkeye Wrestling Club fits the bill. Cowboy Wrestling Club fits the, they're gonna train where they train, and they're gonna have this ceremonial quasi camp for 4 days in Colorado Springs once a year. I mean, that's long and short of it. Do I think they should have should they train together? No. Here's the thing. It's working. Our system right now is working. It's not unified, right? There's great training in Columbus. There's great training in a lot of places, but it's not unified. But that's okay, because our results are great. Yeah. I do think, though, that they should provide funding. It's I'm not trying to put down USA Wrestling down, but it's a little frustrating that, when Jordan Burroughs is ripping off world titles and medals every year, when Kyle Snyder is ripping off world titles and medals every year, when Kyle Dake's ripping off titles, the people at USA Wrestling, they get all kinds of bonuses. We just took second at the World Championships. Let's get everybody a bonus. Guess who doesn't get a nickel? Guess who doesn't get a bonus? Mark Manning, Brian Snyder, Mike Gray, Cale Sanderson, Casey Cunningham. They don't get a nickel, right? I mean, they're basically the college team that has their program endowed.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's an interesting thought to take away. Again, I agree with you. I don't look at this and think, as a fan, of course, I want these guys. I wish Spencer would have won gold. I wish Brooks would have won gold. I wish Dake would have got that elusive Olympic gold. I agree. But I also don't think that I think you can be disappointed as a fan in wanting everybody to win, and also saying we don't necessarily have a problem, and they didn't underperform based on expectation.
Here, we did preview shows, right? And what did I say? I said my picks. I picked one guy to win the Olympics, and that's Kyle Dake. Okay? He didn't do it. He got bronze. And you heard my other picks. So if you just go off my picks, let's just say, okay, Willie, we trust you. We're going by your expectations. Our results weren't that far off from my expectations. You just got to know more. I mean, you just got to have reasonable expectations, right? And there's going to be times where, could and will are different. Kyle Dake could have won the title. Aaron Brooks could have won the title. They didn't. It happens. You lose a match here and there. I mean, Spencer was like a hair away from winning. He's a hair away from winning, guys. And then you have people on the internet that will come at you like, well, any way you slice it, it's we didn't have a gold for the first time in 56 years. Yeah, if Spencer just twists the other way for a brief second, he wins, and shut up.
You're not wrong.
What are we getting yelled at for?
I'm not getting yelled at. I'm telling Felters if he wants to join and give his opinion, he can.
He won't join. He's at a freaking fishing hole in Bondurant, Iowa.
It is crazy when you talk expectation and looking back about the line. Even the line, Dake was the only favorite to win.
Exactly.
Only favorite meaning he was the only one minus money to win. Everybody else, Brooks was plus 125. Snyder was plus 180. Zane was plus 500. Spencer Lee was plus 125.
Okay, so guys, yeah, exactly. So guys, don't take my logic for it. Don't take my opinion for it. Don't take my expectation. Go to the sports books. Look at what the lines were. Take their expectations, and then you tell me that there was a massive underperformance, because the books don't lie.
And by the way, Amit Allure minus 175. She won. So, and she was the only one with minus money on the women's side. And obviously, upsets happen. Sarah was like plus 1,600. Suzaki went down, one of the greatest wrestlers around right now, 5-time World Olympic champ.
I know. Suzaki never lost, ever. Never lost, ever. She loses first round. Are we losing our minds? Is Japan losing their minds? No.
Yeah, so I agree. I think if you go weight by weight and you have, okay, Joe in the chat says, I did expect at least 2 finals appearances among 57, 74, and 86. But what is that based on? I agree that they're capable of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, they were close. They were close. Like, it might have been worst case scenario, but even our worst case scenario is pretty freaking good. We went bronze, 5th in those weights. We went bronze, 5th in those weights, and you're acting like the sky's falling.
54, 74, 86. We went silver, bronze.
What way? I'm sorry.
57 Spencer, 74 Dake, 86 Brooks.
We went silver, bronze, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what's wrong with that?
So
you could envision Brooks making the final. Yeah. You could envision Dake making the finals. Yeah. They didn't. I mean, Brooks got crotch lifted with 2 seconds to go.
Spencer was in the finals, and
yeah.
Dake, man, what a weird match. Dake's only given up double points 4 times, is it? To Cody, to Burroughs, Sidikoff, and to Tani.
It's just unbelievable that Dake, it's the second Olympics in a row where Dake looked like he was going to smash the planet, and then he has this match that's just like he was out to lunch or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That'd be totally uncharacteristic of Kyle Dake.
I did love when he spent 6 minutes yelling at the ref. And I still, to this point, don't understand fully what was going on.
I do. I think I do anyway.
Well, I love that he Hulk smashed him after. He said, the hell with it. Throws him for 5, wins the damn bronze, and has a good time with Tekatani. I thought that was awesome but go ahead.
Why don't you do that all the time? But so this is what happens when and it happens so often, but a lot of times doesn't affect anything, so nobody pitches a fit. But Sabalov's on the clock, and then I don't know what they called, but they put the point on for the wrong person, and then they start running it. They started running the match again with the wrong score and time still on the shot clock. Right? So they started the match under like false. It wasn't accurate.
That makes sense. Yeah, I had no clue in real time what he was.
And so like they challenge, and the review guys are like going back through the tape, and Kyle's like, we're not challenging anything that happened during wrestling. We're challenging that the clock, this is not right.
That makes sense.
If you like, you could actually hear that the microphones picked up Kyle saying, that's not what we're challenging.
Yeah, they said that, but I thought he said that's not the sequence we're challenging. So I thought he was challenging a different sequence. That makes sense, what you're saying, though.
Because I'll tell you why. Because they went back to the center. They started wrestling. The scoreboard's messed up. They start wrestling. So they say, no, challenge. So they start reviewing that little time that they wrestled after. And that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They started reviewing the dead time, the bad time, which is, yeah, whatever.
That's also, too, you know, when we talk about guys like Dake and Snyder, that was Dake's 7th straight World and Olympic medal. That is incredible. And he didn't make his first team till he was 27.
Yeah.
That gets
certain guys, Yanni being another one, but like Yanni and Dake are a video review bonanza. They always get in these weird situations. And even in his match with Takatani, it was like there seemed to be some phantom points, but there was so much flip-flopping around. And I don't know if I agree with the scoring, but I don't know if I agree. I don't know that I don't. And wrestling's a weird sport where, like, if you kick a field goal, you know it's 3, right? It's 3.
Yeah.
But when they go through and they're like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, you're like, whoa, 2 for what and 2 for what and what? Like, it doesn't go up in sequence, right?
Right.
They just put it 20 to 12. It's just always difficult to. There's certain guys like that get into these funky situations.
Yeah, and you know, Dake won his 7th straight World Olympic medal. Snyder was in his 10th straight. That's his first time in 12 World and Olympic straight finals or tournaments that he did not medal. He medaled the juniors in 13 and 14, and then medaled every year from 15 to 23 in seniors.
Hey, this guy just bought me a case of Bud Heavy.
Oh, I see that. Nice. I didn't even see that. Joe, thank you, man.
I'm a single issue voter this year. In the election cycle. Whatever candidate promises to bring down Budweiser prices, that's what I'm voting for.
Hey, do you see who's in the stream? Move your camera over a little bit. Move your camera towards the window. There you go. Willie, do you see our special guest? He's in. Do you see him?
I don't see him yet.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Here
What's
he
up?
comes.
What are your thoughts?
Willie.
Hey.
Told you.
What'd you tell me?
I've been preaching for 2 years how much benefit as the United States we've been benefiting from the step out point and the activity point. Preaching.
Yeah.
From the rooftops. Okay. grounded happens, and
that is true. For those who haven't watched episodes, at least 2, maybe 3 episodes, Fellers had the data from the last few world championships. I mean, the statistics, and Fellers has been very adamant that look at the amount of step outs we get. We get a lot of step outs. We didn't get a lot of step outs this tournament, and we didn't get a lot of takedowns this tournament. So if you want to criticize, don't focus on the results. If you surface level stuff, you have results. If you want to get granular, look at the lack of scoring on our part. We dominated some of the easier competition, but when it came time to come up against our real foes, real challenges, we didn't score a whole heck of a lot of points. Snyder didn't score a takedown on Azapira, right? Dake in his match with Takatani, did he score? Oh yeah, he did. He had some points.
Did you listen to Dake's interview?
Like Zane didn't sniff a takedown. Even I shouldn't. Spencer's a little bit weird because guys stayed away from him, but Spencer had a 3-2 match, round 1, and he had a match in the finals where he scored 2 points. So if you want to get granular with it, maybe we're just not scoring enough points. I mean, it's one thing to, and I shouldn't even say scoring points. What I should say is giving ourselves opportunity to score points. We were not very good offensively in the matches. We didn't dominate. In our losses, we didn't come close.
I think. Well, let's just look at like 12 months ago. Let's say this, and then play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, right? But if you're on the rule set last year in Spencer's match, for example, against Higuchi in the finals, legit, those are both step out points. Plus, maybe one of them's even as drastic as a caution to 1, right? Where maybe you're evading. We went from that rule set. I'm not saying this is why we lost her, but I'm saying emphasis from step out points here in America, even at the age group level, was very prolific in our scoring, and that being pulled out, right? Guys can game a lot more, and let's just call it grounding's one thing. The other thing is pure athleticism. I mean, go-to shots and evolution. I think we're at the end of.
I talked to Snyder. I talked to Snyder this morning, and that's one thing that he pointed out is like we weren't very dynamic. We were most of our guys were very meat and potatoes, like you get in on a single, you finish, you down block on defense. But when things got dicey, when you had to improvise, when you had to be athletic, when you had to crunch time moments, we didn't execute anything that was like very athletic. Spencer did a couple times,
But even in the Higuchi match, like again, maybe gets a push out. But when there's 45 seconds to go, it's like, what's your go-to score and how are you going to get there? What's your 4 or 5 setups against the best guys in the world? This goes back to, I'm going to tip
Kyle,
the hat to Jay.
Listen, Kyle Snyder was losing 3-1 with 2 minutes to go on the clock. He was losing 3-1 with 2 minutes to go. Didn't sniff a takedown. He touched a foot a couple times.
Against Taz or against Iranian?
Against Iranian in the bronze match.
So I went through that's a good point, because even in the Taz match, he's losing 3-1, and Taz is in on our leg.
Dude, here's a really weird sequence. And I said this with Justin in the preview show. I said, I think there's a path for Snyder to beat Taz. Because Snyder, if you recall, in his loss, now when he lost to him at Worlds, it was a butt whooping on the scoreboard, right? But Snyder got to some spots, right? If he gets to those same spots and makes adjustments, things could be very different. you get to a single and you finish, you make adjustments and you finish, you get 2, Taz gets 0. Where in the match that he lost, Taz threw him on his head, Taz gets 4, Snyder gets 0, right? So that's a big swing right there, right? Watch what happened. Go back and watch the Snyder match. Snyder gets a standing single on Taz, and what does he do? What did he do? He let it go. He was scared to get thrown on his head. He had a standing single, and he let it go.
I agree. I think. Again, this is just armchair quarterback, right? I think we tried to game too much. I mean, if you look when the United States look at some guys that came over first time. We always talk about this guy's first time wrestling internationally is usually their best because a lot of times they're bringing their folk style to freestyle and they're just wrestling balls to the wall trying to score points. Look at Seabass against the Japan guy, right? There was a lot of flurries, but he just wrestled the entire time, gave himself the chance. We're trying to game or wait till the last 30 seconds. In a lot of matches, Brooks, and I know he scored a step out and almost takedown against Ramazov, how you say that guy's name. But like we're using the first period like, well, we got to get this guy tired. Guys don't get tired anymore. It's not 1990. Like maybe Musakayev, maybe. But that for us to think we're just going to win on conditioning by just pulling a guy's head, that's not. I mean, it doesn't work. Am I wrong?
There's a lot of people that are of that opinion. Snyder mentioned that as well. Other people online have said that. Like, we can't. It's good to have our gas tank. It's good to have our conditioning. And once in a while, it used to be that a lot of Eastern Europeans would break. They couldn't go at that pace. But now the world's catching up a little bit in terms of pace, and the guys you see breaking are far fewer. So you have to have pace, and you have to get to scoring positions. And we have the pace. We just didn't have the offense.
We didn't put guys under attack. I mean, it would be. I mean, I'll just keep that next comment to myself. If you look collegiately, right? If how the guys get, you got to put guys under attack. You're not just gonna.
Well, Adam,
we're trying to play rush.
I have always been of the opinion that it's a little bit nonsense and it's a little bit overplayed when people say our best performances from our individuals come when we're right out of college and we got that grind. But look at our team. It's our team is a little older. Some of those guys. Dake's a little older, right? Kyle's not old. Snyder's not old, but he's
he's been cycle.
He's far removed from college. So
it's just third year, and you know what we're gonna hear? Here's the typical rhetoric here. The system's broke. Our processes broke. We train too hard. Guys are just broke down. I mean, all the same bullshit. You're gonna hear excuses, but when they win, it's like our grind's winning. Like, okay, the guy from Japan. Let's just. I'm gonna say this. I think we started drinking a lot of our Kool-Aid. I mean, we're on top of the world last couple of years. Minus maybe last year Iran wins, right? But like that guy that won at 65 kilos, undoubtedly the deepest weight, right? Everybody agrees with that. He didn't even 12 months ago. He didn't place at U23s.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
He beats the champ.
That's what you have to look at too. Is like, first of all, the other guys. Nobody told the other guys that they weren't allowed to win. People had great unexpected performances. You can't look and say, I mean, we're USA, so we're doing our own evaluation. We're evaluating our own guys and saying our guys could have did this, should have did this. They did that as expected. They did worse than expected. Yada yada yada. But how do you think Iran's feeling? Amazad, right at 65, he looked like king of the earth. And he just got beat in the finals and like almost no answer for it.
And what do you think of weigh-in? I mean, I think that weigh-in affected him. He just didn't have the pop that he had like against Musakayev. It was a lot quicker. Your turnaround to the finals was a lot quicker.
Dude, Amazad is large, 65. He is big.
How do you say the Japan's guy's name?
Kyoka?
Dude, DNP beats the Olympic champ just to make the returning Olympic just to make the team. Beats Musakayev in the qualification in the points tournament, and then he comes and just runs the gauntlet. Okay, but who gave him his best match the whole tournament? Seabass.
Seabass, by the way, medal back to back.
It wasn't meat and potatoes. Go watch the match.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna. I mean, I hate to say this, and I'm just gonna say it anyways. JB was dynamic. He was athletic. He was explosive. You're not gonna game these guys standing around making a. You know, when we did beat guys in conditioning, you got to put it beyond a one move match. Then okay, break the guys or the mantra and get guys tired. If they can hang around and it's a one score match, an explosion, and then we start trying to play the game, we're gonna get beat. We're gonna get beat. And going back to evaluation of stuff, you know, this is just from afar, but like I think it's really been one step removed where the RTCs have been managing their own guys. I would say what if you look across the board right now, you can say, okay, the American style or tactics from all six of our guys was consistent in this realm. I think it was very individualized. Tactics were all over the board. I didn't think there was and of course it's athlete. I didn't think there was a uniform strategy. You could say, well, as a country, we wrestled like X.
Well, I'll say this. I talked to Christian Piles, and I'm sure I'm not like stealing his ideas or his content. I'm sure he's going to say this on his shows, but I won't get into specifics. But he made very good points about us making calculated wrong decisions. You know, for instance, and I won't say them all because they're his ideas and they're correct ideas. But like Mason Paris nonstop shooting against Munkter when Munkter's just a snap down go behind guy.
Yeah. The thing that the one thing that I would say, going back to the mantra of America, is I think go back to Dake's match and Snyder's match, both in the semis. We're losing and the other guy's attacking us.
Yeah.
I mean,
you know, ultimately though, guys,
we've relied a little. We haven't even. I mean, I think we evolved on relied on a lot of the same things that we've won in the past. I mean, I listened to Dake's interview and it was, you know, listen to him talk about how to adjust and stuff was, you know, he's had to deal with a lot. But the one part I didn't agree with it, you know, basically he dismissed the match that he got beat because it used to be 2-1 and they went 2-2-1 and kind of the, you know, in his chest, you know, his chest lock wasn't scored correctly. And I wouldn't say he gave all that reason he lost, but a big reason why. But everybody knows that Dake's going to chest wrap, right? So Sidakov knew that. The guy from Greece last year knew that. The guy from Japan. So they've been putting thousands and thousands of reps in that position. They're not scared of it anymore. It doesn't have the same mystique it once had.
Well, they had it scouted. Listen, with two things about the Kyle Dake match with Takatani is, number one, you're 100% right. The chest wrap position, they're going to scout that, and they did scout that. And two, the low single. So Takatani shoots that low single. He gets to that position, same position he got it to at last year Worlds. He makes the adjustments. And I'll tell you what's very clear and how you know they scouted it is Jordan Burroughs is predicting it as it's happening. He's like, now watch, he should put the foot to the sky. Takatani puts the foot to the sky. I mean, that was mastered.
It's funny though, the 65 kilo guy against I can't say the guy from Iran's name. I would just say, okay, Iran. I wouldn't even know their names if I was announcing, but he had the same low single against Iran, right? That led to the flurry of getting the lace. I mean, Japan across the board, you would say tactically, strategically, there was a lot of consistencies. They're really hard to get to their legs. They finger fought really hard. They won the edge. I mean,
ultimately, guys, it was a solid USA performance. Down in the little areas, we lost some critical situations. You know, Brooks crotch lift. If Brooks doesn't get crotch lifted there, perhaps the whole tenor of everybody's response is not what it is right now. If Brooks doesn't get crotch lifted with 2 seconds to go, and we put another guy in the finals, maybe even gold, maybe there's not so much crying. There's these little things that we lost, but ultimately, it's fine. It's fine. We're fine as a country. Listen, here's the thing. When you have medal chances at almost every weight, up and down the board, and you have to feel really confident as a country. You need to, people in the United States need to take a step back, take a deep breath, and be thankful for what we have, because we have contenders everywhere. And, part of the thing I say with casuals is they don't, a lot of those people they weren't in the era when we didn't have a dude. They weren't in the era where we ain't meddling that weight. I'll tell you that much, right? Now we have a dude at every weight, and that's all you can really ask for.
I don't think. I mean, you can say, "Oh, we're down," or "We got to change everything." I'm not. I mean, it's the Olympics, right? It's one tournament. I'm not downgrading any of those guys' performance.
Now that I think about it, and this comment, on Twitter, I responded to somebody, and it got a lot of likes, and it wasn't about wrestling. Somebody had commented because the track and field girls lost a race, and somebody commented, "What happened? We used to win all the. We used to, we used to be awesome." And it's like, it's just one race, guys. It's one race. I know it's the Olympics, and the stakes are the highest, and you want us to win, and you think we're superior. It's one time. It's one tournament.
16. Outside of Snyder in 16, who else medaled?
In 16,
Jaden got bronze in 16. I think that was just it. Snyder and Jaden.
Okay.
Molinaro was 5th. Jordan was 7th.
Okay. So I'm going to make this comment. I've said this multiple times too. Like, post-COVID, the rest of the world kind of was down in wrestling. I think you're seeing the upswing. Things might have, from a worldwide level. I mean, you're seeing a lot of more Russians. Albania. You've got 7 Russians there. Minus even with Russia not there. You're seeing the upswing. Like the downness we had for.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Because I'm seeing a lot of eggheads saying, "Well, Russia wasn't even there." Were they? Were they not there? Because there's a hell of a lot of teams. There's a hell of a lot of guys from Albania and Bahrain and Uzbekistan. Guess where they're from? They're not from Russia, guys. I mean, they're not from that country. They're from Russia. So let's stop with the Russia wasn't there from. Where do you think Tilzudinov is from? Where do you think Jamalov is from? Where do you think Ramazanov is from?
Dagestan.
So
right.
Let's not get into the Russia wasn't there thing.
But you're seeing the ups. You're. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be the way it's going to be for everybody. Things may have leveled out. You're going to see peaks and valleys, right? Like
that girl. That was a great tweet from that girl from Canada. She's a wrestler, but she's a journalist too, and she does content.
Best break killing her dog. That one?
No. Olivia Lichty. She's pretty good. She's pretty sharp. But she said, congrats. This was all time. This is like a Willie level tweet, I'm gonna tell you. She said, congrats to Takatani taking 2nd at Russian Nationals. It's a great tweet.
That was a little bit, the Uzbek, that's the guy that got the 2 points against the Albanian that were out of the sky. And then how was Takatani pinned in the finals?
They're gonna call that, dude.
But isn't it? I was reading that if you hold them for that long, they're just going to automatically call it a pin. If you hold them for 15, 20 seconds, whatever it is, they're just going to call the pin every time.
I'll tell you what. I don't know if that's in the rule book, but I'll also tell you that I don't know if I can recall in an international wrestling tournament ever seeing somebody on his back for much longer than that. without them calling the fall. They call it every time. If you're stuck there and you ain't moving, I haven't seen them not call it.
Well, maybe it is in the rule book. It's the appendix part. So let's look at let's look away 4 years ahead of time. Okay, so who's still going to be competing? Who do we see as up and comers that's going to threaten? Like, I mean,
can we talk about you wearing a Vineyard Vines hat?
What's wrong with that? I just got back.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just.
Hey, is that an?
You are a.
I just got back from church.
You are an Iowa pork tenderloin guy, and you're wearing a lobster roll hat.
Hey, is that orange shirt just a hunting shirt, or is there any affiliation to any programs?
No, it's a fishing shirt, actually.
Okay. Oh, it's the inside. I thought it was the second shirt.
Oh no, my cowboy stuff. I had that on the other day. Go Pokes. No, the changing of the guard going forward though, Willie. Like, who do we see? Like, Jesse. I mean, how do you think we're going to perform the age group tournaments in the World Championships coming up? Do we see the same trend of results happen? Like, do we fall off and say, "Oh, it was a failure," or do we think it's going to be the same dominance we've had previously?
I think we're going to be great.
Really?
We're going to be great. I mean, juniors and cadets every year, we're podium team or damn near close to it.
The last 4 years. I'm saying like, again, 2020, like the last quad. But previous to that, we weren't just outside of Gable, that team of Fix and Gable, all them. We weren't just racking home fucking team trophies over everybody.
Here we go. I got it right here.
Hold it up, will you?
Cadet Worlds 2012 8th, 2013 9th, 2014 bronze, 2015 bronze, 2016 silver, 2017 silver, 2018 silver, 2019 5th, 2021 silver, 2022 gold, 2023 silver. Every year, we medal every year, team.
You're right. So we got that going for us.
Let me see what juniors looks like. Juniors looks like 2014 silver, 2015 4th, 2016 5th, 2017 gold, 2018 silver, 2019 silver, 2021 bronze, 2022 silver, 2023 silver. So we've been really good. But I do think it's a good point to see, what happened in certain systems over COVID, and take the next couple of years after COVID to see what kind of changes were made amongst things. And really, I say that Jamalov was there and Ramazanov was there and all these Abakarov is really Russian too. So Russia was there, but Russia's sort of been non-existent, like almost a cycle.
No pun intended.
All right, boys. Hey, let's
Did you see the Japan coach? Did you see Japan coaches both men and women? That was kind of interesting to me.
I didn't see that.
Did they really? I didn't notice that.
Yeah. Dude, they were 66%.
Back in. Let me check the year. It was the year Yanni won. Dayton got hosed. Cadet Worlds. Yanni, where's Yanni? Yanni, no, that 2015 Sarajevo. I was in 2015 Sarajevo Cadet Worlds, and Japan came out as a team for warm-ups. Like, they did this warm-up, both the girls and the boys, in one like unified pre-warm-up routine, right? And I mean, not our guys, right? Not most nations. They come out, they roll around, they do whatever they want to do. This thing was like watching like a military exercise, right? So Japan's very much disciplined, and they have their system. It's pretty Pretty interesting.
I'm curious. Cadets are next week and juniors is in 4 weeks. I'm curious how it all translates over.
Let's talk a little bit about a final thing.
So let me ask one question first. Would you say that Japan and USA terms, would you say that they developed that 65 kg guy at all or not?
Well, absolutely, right? He wasn't. This guy was not. This guy was not Kyle Snyder. This guy was not Sedgelayev. This guy was not. He wasn't Ray Higuchi. Ray Higuchi did great in cadets, juniors. Came in, made
the 65
senior level world medalist.
People were saying there's a lot of politics in him making the team at 65.
Well, there was he beat Odaguru on a couple different challenges.
Well, it looks like it was the right choice, though. They made the right choice, right?
Yeah. But here's what I want to hear from you guys. We'll take our 6 guys. Spencer Lee, back or not?
Yes. Absolutely back.
Adam Feltersfax?
Yes.
Zane Rutherford.
Done.
Kyle Dake.
Piles said he wanted to go to non-Olympic Worlds, and they told him he couldn't, which you can't. If you go to Olympics, you can't go to non-Olympic Worlds. So it seems like maybe he's really still wanting to compete. I mean, him and Snyder have said they want to go for a long time. So at this point, I'd say both Dake and Snyder coming back.
Okay, Dake back.
Brooks back, but up to 92.
Brooks back, but moving. Snyder back. Mason.
So Brooks and Snyder will be at 97 both in 2028 projected, right?
Yep.
All right. Man, I don't want to catch you off guard. I don't want to catch you off guard. Maybe we shouldn't do this, but
yeah,
maybe
I love it.
In a future show, we really should talk about our ladder. Who's the top contenders at 57? Who's the top contenders at 61? On and on and on. Challenged, like Aaron Brooks moving to 92. What does that mean for 86?
That's a whole show. I agree.
Hand up. Assuming that Dake stays, I mean, what NLWC, they've obviously dominated the RTC and the world the last 4 years, right? So who's the next guy? I mean, so Zane, is he going to go to New York or is he going to stay and wrestle?
No, he's done. I think he's moving to Jersey.
Okay, so I'm going to project the future. I mean, Snyder stays. Brooks is going to move up. That's going to become a point of contention. I know they say in 3 years, right? But so like it's a they're going to lose. I mean, they lost Gilman and Taylor. So it's the next guy up there is going to be interesting for their club as well.
Yeah, I'm curious if we see any RTC transfers, whether it's NLWC or not, just over this.
The portal's open. The portal's officially open.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? To me, and this is another thing that Fellers brings up all the time, is that when Ohio State was performing their best collegiately, they had a very robust, perhaps the best, RTC in the country. Now, they just invested money in not only Lou Roselli, but also Colin Moore, but also Coleman Scott. So you might see Ohio State start investing in more senior level athletes.
When's the last time Oklahoma State won the title?
That's a topic for next time. Let's go. Let's set up a show where we talk about the future.
Wait, hold on, Felters. What was your question? The last time Oklahoma State won a national championship?
He brings this up on. He's brought this up on like 8 shows.
Why? What's the context?
2005.
2006.
Last year, the Gator Wrestling Club. Gator Wrestling Club was the NLWC of that era.
Felter's facts.
If you want to win in college, you got to have the best senior level guys, period. I'm out.
But I think that's what I heard David wants to do, is put a huge focus on the RTC there. So that would not surprise me. I'm pretty sure that was one of the conversations we heard about.
Yeah, and the word down there currently is that David says he wants a robust senior level RTC, and aligning with that is the word that you get out of Stillwater right now is that David is not high on high dollar NIL deals, but rather using that money for RTC. So
yep.
that adds up. That maps.
I do think we need to do a couple shows over the next couple of weeks and even months that I think one is really diving into. I would position it as previewing the next quad. What the next squad looks like with retirements. I think both foreign and domestically. I think looking at the next squad. I think looking at the next year just in USA Wrestling. I mean,
well, it's not entirely off topic with non-Olympic weights trials announced for Omaha in a couple weeks. Following the Olympics, it kind of merges, and we can talk about it, preview it, and then reassess after non-Olympic weight worlds and see where we're at.
Yeah, so registration opens August 26th for the non-Olympic weight world championship team trials, which are 2.5 weeks later, which is a tight turnaround. I don't know why they're waiting to open that registration up so long. I don't know if it's a membership turnover thing. But yeah, we'll definitely preview that because, again, we know that 4 out of the 6 Olympic weights will not have a guy sitting out if Brooks moves up. We don't know yet about the non-Olympic weights, who's going, what that's going to look like. So that's probably actually when we'll do a nice preview show. But all right, Willie, that is our Olympic coverage. 4 shows this week. That's the most for me. I don't think I've done more than 4 in a week. Have you ever done 5?
Fun. And they're easy peasy when you have such high stakes.
Yeah, and then we're going to roll right into cadets start next Monday, and then a couple weeks later, juniors. And then I think the following week after juniors is the non-Olympic weight world team trials.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's the show.
Thanks for watching. Love you guys.
Tune in, comment, like, subscribe. Buy Willie more butt heavies. See ya.